I'm going to get up to pay attention, but I'm not going to get up to be nervous. When nervous, get to the level of nervous, I'm done. That's my level. And you can do that. You can adjust your fear factor, your attention factor, your energetic factor if you choose to. And you may need some practice, but once you've done it, you go, I got this. I can do that. I can adjust my thing. And with that comes a sense of equanimity because, okay, things are up, I'm alert, but I'm calm. And it's the one thing I've noticed about me when I come to a big rapid is I'm alert, but I got the calm thing going. I have lots of experience, but you have lots of experience in your life. And so you bring your level to the level of energetic alertness that you need, but don't go any higher. Don't freak, right? And think about that with all the things you want and don't want in your life. Bring it up to a level that you can function at your best, but don't go any higher. Save some of the energy for when you need it. I want to say today we're beginning a series that we used to call Advent, and we've kind of changed it a little bit. We're going to try and make it fresher for you. You know how we've lit the candles and done that every year for X number of years. Today we're starting on the Stations of Brahma, which of course seemed like the proper thing to do around Christmas time. And there are 4 stations, and basically there's compassion, and then there's friendliness, and then there is equanimity, and then there is gladness. And we're going to go through those as we go through this, which is very similar to the ideas of Advent. But since life is about change, we thought we'd add a little twist to it. And I've been talking with a friend, and I've also been quite curious for some time about the idea of recognizing your true nature. It's even in our mission statement, we're a spiritual community awakening to our divine nature through love, service, and personal transformation. And to that end, we have been practicing here and in other places the meditations that basically ask you to look for your divine nature or your true nature or your primary nature by asking the question, who am I? And in asking the question, it's not supposed to be a strain or anything, but it's supposed to reverse your attention from outward, so you're looking at objects, and instead you're looking at the awareness that has always been with you, that is always aware. It is the basis of who you are. It's the true nature. It's your divine essence. And that divine essence is the same thing that will bring you a sense of peace and will bring you a sense of harmony with all things, because that is the baseline of all existence. And yours is the same as everybody else's. So if you will practice this along with us, I think what you'll begin to feel is a deeper sense of calm. And that sense of calm will then translate into your outer life. And while many times we've learned to meditate on an object, that object being a candle or a mantra or something like this, this is saying, forget all the objects, go to the non-object, to the no thing, to the beginning, to the source, to the self. So let me continue to encourage you to do that, because I believe this movement away from dual, you and the object, toward the awareness, which in essence, we won't get into it today, is creating the objects in your consciousness. Instead of being on a dual plane, be on a non-dual plane. And in the non-dual plane, there are many things you might experience. Some people experience essentially a disappearance of their ego at a certain level. They even go further, and they have a disappearance of their sense of any gap. It's just, or anything really. It's really kind of a weird state. But there's a level at which most Christianity has turned to, which is a level at which there's a sense of union and oneness, and some of that duality still exists. And that it's considered in the Christian tradition the highest state you can reach, in which you have a sense of oneness with God. And all these states that are in the non-dual or dual state, I guess maybe we should say, they all have one thing in common though. Whether everything is lost its identity or there's a you in God and you have merged, and somehow a trace of you has remained as a sense of separate being, or you have just merged completely and there is no sense of separateness. When you're in this phase of it, when you are having that, you have a sense of love and connection with the divine, and it's what many people have sought their whole life, is to actually find God. And in this, you do find God. And this, essentially, there is no God, no other God, because you are it. Take your pick. But what comes with both of them is a sense of peace, a profound sense of well-being, a profound sense that everything is all right. Anybody want that? A profound sense that no matter what has happened in your past or in your present or you anticipate in the future, everything is all right. And it's not in question anymore. And you don't have to convince yourself, because you've had a shift of experience and awareness, and now you rest in that instead of in this place where most of us exist, in the place where we see the outer world and we're over here. And we're continually in a separated state from that which seems to be other out there. And in so doing, we can be disturbed by whatever's going on out there, or we can be happy and then feel like we could lose it, or, you can go through all the things that Buddha said a person would have, which is that you would be in dissatisfaction a lot of the time. And so what we're looking for is this state in which nothing is outside your acceptance, that you're at peace with it. And it can come on strong, this transformation, or it can come on gradually. And for most people, it's gradual. But you hear stories, Eckhart Tolle being one of them, in which it's just a slam dunk. He's miserable, and now he's Eckhart Tolle, right? And so what these Four Stations of Brahma are here is to help reduce the static to where you can hear the signal. Does that make sense? And it's called in that Hindu tradition purifying the ego, but I think of it differently. It's more like your ego is the static. And it's not always static, but it's the one that keeps you from actually being able and willing sometimes to dive into this place of eternal peace. And so we quiet that by doing these practices. And today's practice is equanimity. And I thought it would be fun to tell that through the Christmas story. So the angel of Gabriel comes to Mary, who's a teenage girl, in a culture where chastity was really honored, infidelity could be stoned, and she hears from the angel of God, hey, you're going to get pregnant. And she goes, I'm going to do what? And she loses her equanimity, and the story falls apart because the Christ can't be born in a too static a state. So what I'm saying is, let's have a conversation about equanimity as preparation for your awakening. Let me tell you a story. Many people start this off by talking about faith. And faith is a tricky thing. It means many different things. The word means many different things. But I want to tell you a story my sister told me over Thanksgiving. We had some time together on Friday, just the two of us, and I was talking to her, and I really love my sister. She's 9 years younger, and she's always adored me, and that's been why I love her so much. And But I've just noticed that everything she touches these days turns to gold. I mean, it's just phenomenal. She built a house, and this started a few years ago, but it's just gotten to be like undeniable. She bought a house when she was like bought some land on a Topsail Island when she was about 29 years old, and it was about $50,000. And she had to wait till she was 60 to build a house. She built the house. She built it perfectly. It's a beautiful house. We've never had a house in our family that was perfect, you know? And I'm not comfortable with perfect, to be honest, because it's just so perfect. But anyway, the thing rents like a big dog, and she makes more money in 10 weeks in the summer than her whole mortgage. And so then she lives the rest of the year there for free. That's good, check, being like that, prosperity. She told me a story, how this all started, though. Well, let me just tell you another one. So she's doing a fundraiser for her church. Now, she's an Episcopalian in Lexington, North Carolina, which is a small town. It's a small church, and there are about maybe 50 or 65 people that attend on a Sunday. And they do this fundraiser because the building's old, and they want to do some renovation and stuff. And she, you know, all of a sudden, she's raised $1 million. You go, well, that was good. I said, well, tell me, this is just amazing. You're just knocking it out of the park. She says, well, it actually all started. She runs Habitat for Humanity there, and they have a restore, but they want to start a second restore. And they have already publicized that they're going to open this restore, and they are not even coming close to meeting the deadline. And she says, I've done the advertising. I don't want to change the date. I have no idea how I'm going to get it done. She's just a frenzy of a person. She's going, I'm going to do what? And in that moment, before she goes to bed, she goes, well, actually, this is about the Episcopal priest that she has. And she said, he's been talking about the Holy Spirit. And she says, you know, I'm not one of those people. You know, one of those Holy Spirit people. But I'm enlisted, you know, I go to church every day, every Sunday, and I hear this, and I go, Holy Spirit, I got a problem, and I need you to fix it because I can't do it. And she goes to sleep. In her sleep, she hears a dream. In a dream, Jeff is going to come help you. She goes, okay, and she wakes up, she remembers the dream. She goes to work the next day in her office. It's closed, the door is closed, and it's just not open hours, but this guy knocks on the door, and she opens up, and he says, I'm here to help. You go, yeah? Well, come in. Well, what's your name? Jeff. He was a manager of warehouses by profession. And so since then, what she has believed is that it's going to work. That prayer works, that attention on the divine works, or however she says it. Well, right now she says the Holy Spirit does it, which is translated in different words, but it's the same thing we talk about here all the time. There is no real big gap. It's just that we don't always use that phrase, and she wasn't used to it either. But maybe it will work if you want to try it. And one of the things I think you should do is realize that the baseline of that is trust and allowing, and on occasion, believing when you can't see it. Trust, allowing, and believing when you can't see it. And so this is the same story that the Virgin Mary is having. She's trusting. And in the Bible it says, she says, after a discussion with the angel Gabriel, here I am, let it be done according to your will. That's allowing. And truly, she must have trusted something would go well, because she didn't get so freaked out about the possibility of being stoned or cast away. So that's one of them. One way to get equanimity is to do those three practices within equanimity: trust, allowing, and faith, and believing. Another thing you can do is review your life. I mean, how many times have you been freaked out about something or acted out of fear, and then the circumstances changed and it went away? And so that old phrase, you know, this too shall pass, has been proven in your life hundreds of times. But to the one who is paying attention only to this moment and forgetting the lessons of their life, they may be freaked out about what's happening. One of the things that I learned when I was a river guide was, the first time I had a boat to myself with paying passengers on the Grand Canyon, I was doing okay, but we came up to the biggest 2 days of rapids, and I had the first one. It was always one that kind of gave me a problem, and I blew it there again. And you have to do a lot of heavy labor, bailing the boat out, pulling it to shore, all that stuff kind of wears you out. The next one is also hard. I didn't do so well there. I might have done okay, I can't remember. But over the course of the day, I kind of messed up a bunch. And the lead boatman came to me, he says, "Get it together." And because I almost flipped. By the evening, I was so tired and so worn out, I was almost flipped in a non-recognizable rapid because I didn't straighten out and do the very simple thing that would make it nothing. Overnight, I did get it together. And I remembered something that has stuck with me forever, which is don't get too damn excited about any one thing. Do you know what I mean? I got so excited about the first one, I had to go to the bathroom twice. And then I blew it. And I was so excited because as a trainee, you only got to do a few rapids because there were other trainees in the boat. And I got so excited about that. And I had those experiences. I just wore myself out till I was frazzled. And the next day I went, I'm going to get up, but not very high. I'm going to get up to pay attention, but I'm not going to get up to be nervous. When nervous, get to the level of nervous, I'm done. That's my limit. And you can do that. You can adjust your fear factor, your attention factor, your energetic factor if you choose to. And you may need some practice, but once you've done it, you go, I got this. I can do that. I can adjust my thing. And with that comes a sense of equanimity because, okay, things are up, I'm alert, but I'm calm. And so the one thing I've noticed about me when I come to a big rapid is I'm alert, but I got the calm thing going. I have lots of experience, but you have lots of experience in your life. And so you bring your level to the level of energetic alertness that you need, but don't go any higher. Don't freak, right? And think about that with all the things you want and don't want in your life. Bring it up to a level that you can function at your best, but don't go any higher. Save some of the energy for when you need it. It's something I was telling some people after the election. They were kind of like, what are we going to do? Take a nap. You're hyped. Take a nap. You're no good to yourself right now. And I want to tell you one more thing that may help in this time of change and exaggerated everything. This is a beautiful story I heard yesterday, and you may have heard it also on NPR. Hourglass, This American Life. It was a ranger in Yellowstone whose job was to monitor the incoming reintroduced wolves. And he was following the different packs. They had collars on, and he had a scope, and he could watch them and all that. And here's the story. And this story is really about possibility and not probability. There's the punchline. Here's the story. A brood was born. There were 3 strong ones and 1 runt. And the runt was last out of the den, looked scruffy. The other 2 were strong and powerful. Other 3, strong, powerful, and they were jet black and gorgeous. And they picked on him all the time and made him eat last. It was, Cinderella story for sure. And he was slow because he was weak and because he didn't get enough to eat, and all that happened. So eventually he left that group. And he was out wandering around, being a lone wolf, and he runs into a female that had had 8 pups. And at the same day she had those pups, her mate was shot by a poacher. So there was no way she could feed the pups and keep them warm at the same time. So it was either feed them or starve. He comes along, playing with the pups, having a fun time, starts to take care of them, goes hunting and brings back food, vomits it for them so they can eat it. And this goes on, and those pups survive. Then he has a special relationship with this very large and muscular black one that is just like a cartoon character of a wolf, so perfect, so big, so strong. And they would go hunting together, and he would make the strategy, but the son, adopted son, would be the first in, and it was working out really well. Well, at some point, as every maturing wolf would do, he leaves the pack and goes out to form his own life. And what he does is, instead of going far, he goes across the valley to a near pack that is actually a rival pack. And this rival pack is really led by a psychopathic female, which sounds like anthropomorphic, but she killed both her sister's pups. She drove her mother and her other sister out of the pack. She kind of deals with the rest of the world in a real vicious way. And this male goes over there, and she even kills one of his old pack, and he doesn't do anything because she's such a boss. Grows up. He becomes the dominant male. She's still there. And they're howling to the other side, back and forth, back and forth. That howling then becomes real charged, and they start moving toward each other. The ranger can see it because he's got radio telemetry on the collars, and he can see the 2 packs are merging like this, coming across the valley. And he gets his scope out, and he sees the big, black, beautiful one, now that's such a dominant animal, running full speed toward his old father, who, as fast as he can run, is just barely ahead of his tribe, but he's the leader, and he's coming at him just like a leader would, and they're coming at each other. And this ranger gets choked up as he tells this story, because he goes, I knew there was no way that if he even let his father get by, that the psychopath was going to rip him apart anyway, and he would be strewn with blood and guts everywhere. He just said, I just couldn't imagine this for this brave little guy. And they're running toward each other, full speed, and at the last minute, the big black dog takes a slight detour and just keeps running. And so does this guy. Full speed, both of them, and their whole pack go with them, and nothing happens. The inevitable became a nothing. So if you're nervous about your life, maybe there's this hidden solution that you might find if you can keep the faith or hold to possibilities rather than to probabilities. So equanimity, dialing down the ego's panic button, its anxiety, its anticipation that it knows the answer when it may not really know what's coming. This is the season, this is the week we're doing that. And we're going to have cards. The prayer chaplains have cards. They look like this. Please get one. Our thought is that the whole church would be practicing equanimity for a week. And then next week, we'll give you another one, and we'll all be doing that. And we're a spiritual community, awakening to our divine nature through love, service, and personal transformation. Let us pray. So I want to bring you back to your own awareness, that you pay attention to that which is always primary in your experience, but we don't see it. It is the container in which everything is. It is the screen on which the movie of your drama is played out. But it is consistent. And we go get it like this, asking the first question, who am I? And just keep going deeper and deeper into the answer. No strain. It's not beyond you. Just feel into it. And it should bring you equanimity and a peace. And with practice, a peace that exceeds understanding. And so it is. I hope you got something out of today's service. We intend to bring you things that will help you in your life become more of who you want to be, give you the freedom of forgiveness and the hope of expectancy that your life will unfold in a way that brings you joy, happiness, and is a contribution to the world. If you would like to contribute to this ministry, please go to unitytriangle.org, hit the donate button, and it will lead you into an easy way of doing that. We thank you for your attention and look forward to seeing you again here.